little boy once dared to dream about space. 30 years later, his dreams were about to come true. A nation had reached for the stars. The Soyuz spacecraft draws near to the International Space Station.
Continuing on its approach. So the hatch opening coming at 5.
Then, after many checks, the hatches open between the vehicle and the space station. First to emerge is Russian cosmonaut Oleg Skripochka. Behind him is flight engineer Jessica Meir, NASA astronaut and marine biologist on her maiden journey into space. Then there is Hezza al-Mansouri, making history as the very first Arab astronaut to visit the International Space Station.
For us, really it's a dream. I mean, when you look at, we started in this room here. We had our interviews, and I remember Hezza coming in, very excited that he's part of this process, but also very nervous. Can he, is he going to be selected? Is he going to be part of that? And a couple of years later, I see the same person in the ISS speaking Arabic. He's got the UAE flag. He's got the MBRC logo. All I can say is, wow. I mean, that was really a dream come true.
I am Hezza al-Mansouri, the Emirati astronaut, talking to you from the International Space Station.
The next 8 days is not just a step into microgravity for an astronaut. It is a giant leap into the space era for an ambitious small country, the United Arab Emirates. As a youngster, Hezza spent time in the small desert town of Liwa. Here, deep in the dunes, he looked to the skies and dreamt of space travel.
I've grown up with that dream chasing me in all my life.
I think everyone should look always outside at night and dream about space.
After graduating from an air college, Hezza joined the army and trained to become a fighter pilot. But Hezza's journey into space began in 2017. The Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center launched the UAE's first astronaut program. News of the search for the first astronauts swept through an excited nation, and 4,022 candidates responded, including Hezza, who effortlessly passed the physical and psychological tests. 14 years of military aviation had prepared him to handle high gravitational forces.
So I also remember Sultan very well, different personalities.
Dr. Sultan al-Niyadi, holding a doctorate in information technology and specializing in data leakage prevention, had the skills and academic qualifications to solve complex problems in space.
The program is looking for an overall person who has all the capabilities, but at the end of the day, they selected only 2, and that was Hezza and me, so it was a great moment.
The initial selection is announced. It is now full steam ahead for the pair as they begin hundreds of hours of training in Russia.
So the first moment you arrive in Russia, you feel everyone is talking about space.
Huzza al-Mansouri and Dr. Sultan al-Niyadi are both selected to represent the first United Arab Emirates astronaut corps.
In Star City, we are literally walking in an open museum.
At the Yuri Gagarin Training Center, the two astronauts undergo daily intense workouts.
Quickly! 10, 2, бегом, quickly!
Their routines include vigorous physical exercises, preparing them for the challenges in space.
So basically, space is really tough on the human body. And that's why we are focusing on strengthening the muscles and apply some force on our bones as well.
We start again to pick up our Russian language because the Soyuz, the spacecraft, it's only in Russian. So all the switches, all the control panels, all the screens there in Russian.
Понимаете, мы стараемся помочь друг другу и помочь Хазе в чем-то, и он нам помогает в чем-то, и мы у нас определенные отношения и взаимопомощь будет в любом случае.
Huzza is assigned to fly to the ISS with the prime crew. Sultan is selected as backup crew.
Backup crew will be doing everything, and they have to be well equipped with the knowledge, well equipped with the training, and they should be able to perform as good as the main crew.
It is 3 months before their departure, and the crew prepare for the ordeals they might face. Soyuz MS-15 commander Oleg Skripochka will be flanked on his left by flight engineer Jessica Mayer.
Now we're reviewing a lot of the really critical emergency procedures, and we're doing that with our specific crew. So Oleg and Huzza and I have had a lot of that training recently, what to do and how to prepare in case of a fire or a depressurization of the space station. Of course, since those are critical emergencies, we really need to make sure that our responses are very well choreographed and really practically memorized so that we know exactly what to do to keep us safe.
Huzza eagerly embraces the risks of space travel, but coping with separation from his family is the hardest ordeal he must face.
I think to be really away from my family is one of the things that I'm really having a challenge on, but I'm trying to keep every day like contact with my family by video, by Skype, and just say hi to make sure that I am there with them every day.
15 days before blastoff, having completed 1,400 training hours and 90 training courses, Huzza is ready to fly. The crew now depart from Star City and fly 2,100 kilometers to a semi-arid part of southern Kazakhstan. It is remote and sparsely populated. And here, in the middle of nowhere, the local people of Kazakhstan witness the greatest triumphs of the space age.
When the Russians pushed a man across the threshold, he was Yuri Gagarin, the astronaut the Russians lionized as the first...
It was in Baikonur that the Russians chose to build a complex rocket launch site in the late 50s.
Again, the Soviet Union takes a commanding position. This time...
Today, this is the final staging post for Huzza. In the days leading up to the launch, the first Emirati astronaut now prepares himself for the takeoff.
We finally arrive in Baikonur. Everything that we saw, we heard about Baikonur, it's reality.
We started every day to do the tilting table and also the rotation chair. So the tilting table, actually, it's for making our body familiarize more with and adapting more to the fluid shift. This is one of the things that will happen to the astronaut's body in microgravity.
The prime crew and backup astronauts arrive at the assembly and testing facility at pad number 254 to perform the final fit check. They climb into the Soyuz capsule to ensure its readiness.
Hezza and I see things a little bit differently than Oleg sometimes, just because it's our very first time. We'll sneak looks at each other and our eyes will be wide and we'll sort of share that moment together. And I know that that's going to be the way it is for the actual launch as well. I'm just waiting for that, peering over at Hezza when we finally take off and experience weightlessness for the first time and all of those big moments.
This is the second to last day before takeoff for Hezza and his crew. They follow the launch procedures line for line for what will be the last time.
And after that, we went to the simulation. It's a small laptops simulating our rendezvous procedures and also our docking procedures.
Space travel is punishingly dangerous. There are risks to an astronaut's life.
What I think he's going to be feeling on the day of launch is an extreme amount of excitement. He might have a hard time sleeping the night before because he'll be so excited about launching in space. I don't think he'll be in the least bit afraid, maybe for a few minutes. So it'll be a wonderful mix of emotions, mostly, though, excitement about his first launch.
I'd be lying if I tell you I'm not scared. I'm a human and I feel scared. But I'm prepared for anything could happen to me.
48 hours before blastoff, big crowds gather and witness the rollout of the rocket towards the launch complex. Then, the 4 green arms ensure the rocket is positioned properly.
Just night before the launch, I remember that it was a busy, really night for me. I couldn't sleep because I was excited. I'm going to space. I'm making my dream coming true in a couple of hours. For me, at that time, I have a lot of thoughts going in my mind.
The moment started to build up. Everything was accelerating. Everything was rushing towards the big moment. I hugged him before he went to the rocket, and I told him, you can make it. Trust in yourself and your training. Trust that everybody is praying for you at this moment. Yeah, I think he went there and he was waving. It wasn't a goodbye. He was saying, I can do it. He did like this, like an indication that he'll do it perfectly and he'll come back safely.
There's a lot of people there. There was a very big crowd gathered outside. We went inside where they were suiting up and putting their Sokol suits on. And that's a moment for the family to say their last goodbyes to the cosmonauts and astronauts before they go into the rocket. As I'd walked in, his kids and family were already there. And he was, I think he just put his Sokol on and he just came and sat down. He was smiling, he was happy, he was very calm, he was interacting with his kids.
I was behind Hezza. I was actually filming him, and it was really emotional.
So I'm trying to just cheer them up. Maybe they're afraid or something. So I'm trying to just smile and wave, but inside me there's a lot of thoughts. I'm happy and I'm leaving my kids, and at the same time I'm making my dream come true.
The crew make their final journey to the rocket.
We arrived just before the astronauts arrived. And then Chairman Hamid Abed Mansouri held Hezza from one side, and there was a Russian trainer colleague who held him from the other side, which is tradition. And then they walked up into to the stairs and said basically their final goodbyes before they got onto the rocket.
We just went to the ladder. We wave again to everyone, and then we went to the elevator going up. At that moment, I was looking outside, looking to the horizon, and then said to myself, the next time I will see the horizon, it's from space.
It is just minutes before the launch, and an entire nation holds its breath, waiting for the countdown. Propelled at speeds of 25,000 kilometers per hour, the Soyuz, now chasing the International Space Station, crosses the divide between Earth's atmosphere and space. Microgravity is achieved in less than 10 minutes after takeoff.
So we are just orbiting around the Earth and we are observing like day and night, day and night. I saw the ISS. It was really amazing. It was a small dot inside the screen, and then it's getting bigger and bigger as we're getting closer. We heard our friends on board the station welcoming us through the com, and they asked me, cosmonaut Alexei on board the station, Hazza, what do you want to drink? This is the first question for me.
During his 8-day mission, Hezar is tasked with carrying out a series of science and space experiments. But first, he had to learn to move in space.
So really the difficult part I encounter at the beginning is to move on board the station. Because you think that, okay, I will do like this with the hands and we will go forward. It didn't work like this. So sometimes you will go up, sometimes you will go down. Because the small pressure you put, it will affect your movement. Sometimes you'll just keep rotating, and with the time, you will have this full control.
On his second day aboard the ISS, Hezar has a direct line to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum in the MBRSC.
هزاع أول شيء الحمد لله على السلامة وشعب الإمارات يفتخر فيه.
The next few days are demanding and packed with activities from the moment he wakes up to the time he closes his eyes.
For me, I was participating in 16 experiments in total, 6 of them on board the station.
When his duties are fulfilled, Hezar floats off to observe the station turning around the Earth 16 times a day. Eight days pass in the blink of an eye. The mission is over, and it is time to bid farewell to his astro family. Hezar will travel back to Earth with NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin.
And now we're trying to welcome Hezar back on Earth after the fulfillment of his mission.
Re-entry after the plasma exit at 13.
Peroxide fuel for the entry control thrusters. Touchdown. Right on the money at 5:59 a.m.
So it was a great moment to see him with that big smile, sitting with the rest of the crew, and he was happy, he was excited. The biggest moment for him and myself is when he was covered with the UA flag and he kissed that flag.
Al-Mansouri, the first Emirati citizen to fly in space.
And then I head back home. It really was amazing for me. All the leadership in my country was waiting for me. You know, it was amazing.
The astronauts returned to a hero's welcome, greeted by Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, and their proud nation.
I cannot describe it. For me, I want to cry at that point, but I have to be looking like as a hero at that point. So I just hugged everybody, happy to see them, to see my kids also again, you know, a moment that I will not forget. I achieved the goal of our nation to send astronauts, one from their country to up in space. So mission 1 accomplished.
The next mission will further position the UAE at the vanguard of space exploration in the region. In July 2020, the spacecraft Hope will travel 60 million kilometers to reach the Martian orbit.
Mars is difficult. Mars is challenging. In 2021, MS Mars mission will be providing the world with a unique set of data that humanity never had before. Emirates Mars mission is going to cause the change that we want in the UAE and in the region by bringing this data back.
The astronauts continue their quest to inspire a new generation of explorers. Their words echo through classrooms around the Arab world. The two astronauts light the fires of inspiration. Every child now asks, what is next? And the astronauts tell them, dare to dream. Dare to dream bigger than you have ever before.